just get news that Hurricane Idalia has been downgraded to a Category 1. It is officially in Georgia. Is moving through South Georgia as we speak. I know this is a community that you used to live in before you joined us here in Atlanta. I mean, tell us a little bit about that area. That is a very small community, a lot of people just looking out for one another at this time.
Yeah, I mean, Tybee folks are tough. Most Barrier Island born and raised folks are, and this is an area that is relatively versed with the threat of hurricanes. We had Hugo back in the 80s threaten this area, turned up and hit Charleston. Floyd threatened this area. It ended up impacting South Carolina and North Carolina. Going back to the 1890s, we did have several major hurricane landfalls along the Georgia coast. They happen infrequently, but occasionally they can come out of the Atlantic and make a perpendicular landfall along the Georgia coast, and there are signs of that to our south. There are buildings that were able to survive some of the late 1890s. We had a few hurricanes that made landfall south of here. Tybee, of course, was not as developed by that point. Technically, cityhood began a little bit after. There was probably some development here, but those buildings, of course, still not around. So they are aware, but it also is a place that tends to get grazed more than it is a place that is impacted by direct landfalls. Nonetheless, preparation is preparation, and it's old hat for folks out here, and they're aware of what needs to be done, and they're aware of their local issues. And for Tybee Island, that's the risk of coastal flooding. In this particular case, cutting off access to the mainland for a little bit. Also, folks on the back end of the island having to keep an extra eye out for the possibility of water entering their property. Hopefully we don't get to levels like that. And then, of course, we're watching wind. I don't know if you saw the tweet there, Maria, but I did put out a video of some of the siding that was starting to come off after some of the earlier wind gusts that we had. Not sure if this is going to show up well, but you can see just bands of rain blowing, almost looking like snow there across the parking lot, getting some good 40-mile-an-hour gusts here on the other side of the building. A little bit more protected where I am right now as this next band moves in, and it's these bands that'll have the risk of isolated tornadoes, that'll have the greater wind gusts, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, funneling through some of these buildings here, and also the torrential rain that could flood streets. But folks are prepared. Our sister station here, WTOC, is in wall-to-wall coverage. They will be all day long, so certainly the flow of information is strong here, and I encourage folks, if they are away from this area and they have interests, they have ties, they have loved ones down here, the Atlanta News First app, a great place to get information. First Alert weather app, you can actually get Tybee's forecast, the latest current conditions here at Tybee in the First Alert weather app. All you have to do is go to your locations menu in your settings options within the First Alert weather app. It is, as we've been talking about, frequently here for months during hurricane season, pretty free and easy download there, and a good way to stay in touch if you have friends and loved ones down here.
Cutter, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I see that rain is starting to come down a little harder, so I'm going to let you get back inside safely. Please stay safe out there. We hope to see you back here soon. All right, and I